Hi, it's Panda Movies here. Today I'm going to explain the movie called Looper. Warning, there are spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. In the year 2044, Joe, a 25-year-old assassin known as a looper, works for a Kansas City crime syndicate. Because tracking technology in the year 2074 makes it practically impossible to dispose of dead unnoticed, the syndicate sends its adversaries back in time to be executed. Loopers, led by Abe, a man from the future, kill and dispose of people with their faces hidden in exchange for silver bars linked to their targets. To conceal their ties to the syndicate, any loopers who live until 2074 are sent back in time and killed by their younger selves, a process known as closing the loop, which marks the end of the looper's contract with gold bars instead of silver. Seth, Joe's friend, admits to Joe that he failed in an attempt to kill his future self. After telling Seth that in the future, a person known as the Rainmaker will overthrow the 5 big bosses and shut all loops, Old Seth has escaped. Joe reluctantly hides Seth in his apartment's floor safe. But after Abe threatens to steal half of Joe's saved silver, he confesses his whereabouts. Seth is apprehended by Abe's elite Gat Men, who cut an address into his arm and begin cutting body parts. These effects show on Old Seth's body. He walks to the address on his arm and is shot by one of the Gat Men, Kid Blue. When Joe's next target arrives, it is his older self, but with his face uncovered and hands unbound. Old Joe escapes before Joe can kill him. Returning to his apartment and finding it ransacked by the Gat Men, Joe fights with Kid Blue, falls off a fire escape and blacks out. In another timeline, Joe does kill his older self. He moves to Shanghai and becomes a hitman to finance his drug addiction and wild lifestyle. Eventually, he marries and breaks the addiction with his wife's help. 7 years later, his wife is killed when Joe is taken to close the loop. Overpowering his captors, Old Joe sends himself back to 2044, altering his history by evading Joe and escaping. Joe encounters his younger self at a diner and has vague memories of his behavior in the present. By killing the Rainmaker as a child, he hopes to change history once more and save his wife. He gets a map from a nearby library with the help of numerals he wrote on his hand that are meant to be related to the Rainmaker's identity. A shootout follows when Kid Blue and the Gat Men appear. Both Joes make it out alive, carrying portions of the map. Joe follows the map to a farm where Sarah, a woman, and her little son Sid live. Sarah identifies Sid's birthday and the location of the hospital where he was born from the numbers on the map. Joe believes that Old Joe will murder all 3 children born on the same day at that hospital, not knowing which one will be the Rainmaker. When Jesse, a Gat Man, arrives at the property, Sid and Joe flee. Sarah and Joe have sex later that night, and Sarah shows that she has above-average telekinetic abilities. When Joe wakes up the next morning, he discovers Jesse holding Sarah at gunpoint. Sid, terrified, uses telekinesis to kill Jesse. Joe realizes Sid will become the Rainmaker, and Old Joe will now be aware of this. Old Joe is kidnapped by Kid Blue and taken to Abe. After killing Abe and his henchmen, Old Joe breaks free and heads to Sarah's farm, followed by Kid Blue. While young Joe is pursuing Sarah and Sid, Old Joe is after Kid Blue. Sarah calms Sid down before he reacts and kills anyone when his face is wounded by a bullet. She sends Sid into a cane field and positions herself in the way of Old Joe's firing. Joe believes that if Old Joe kills Sarah, Sid will become the Rainmaker. He kills himself, wiping Old Joe's memory, sparing Sarah, and possibly stopping Sid from becoming the Rainmaker.